So Rishi, PS4 Neo is PS4 Pro?
Yeah, that's a thing now, and it's essentially a faster, better, more powerful version of the PlayStation 4. It has twice the processing power. They're saying it has 4.2 teraflops, which is basically a term for how powerful it is. Your games will look better, be it regular original PlayStation 4 games or new games that are coming out. They'll all work a lot. They'll look a lot better on the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah, so what does this mean for me as a PS4 owner?
Well, it's just a question of whether you own a 4K TV or not. If you own a 4K TV, yes, the PS4 Pro is an upgrade in terms of resolution, in terms of HDR, in terms of VR support. It'll all look better and be enhanced. But above and beyond that, there's no real reason to go for it. Even though it costs the same price as the PlayStation 4 at launch, which was I think $399.
So if I'm not interested in VR, then I can skip this, right?
If you're not interested in VR and if you're not interested in 4K, if you're not interested in HDR, yeah, you can skip it. Essentially, if long story short, if you're not interested in games looking prettier or if you don't have a screen that can support games looking prettier, there's no point to buy it.
So if I have a regular 1080p TV, then there's no real benefit.
There isn't, because Sony had also announced that next week PS4 owners are getting a free HDR update. What this means, HDR essentially is a piece of tech that lets lets you see colors more accurately, more vividly, adds more contrast as well. You can liken it to how cameras have an HDR setting, which allows for a greater gamut of colors. So that's essentially what it does. And if that's already coming to the PlayStation 4 as a free update, and let's be honest here, most screens which are not 4K do not support HDR.
Yeah.
So either way, I mean, you're getting one feature out of four, which is HDR. The other three aren't that important. By other three features, I'm referring to interoperability, which is Sony's fancy term for forward compatibility, which basically means games on PS4 and PS4 Pro will work. I mean, that's not even a point in my opinion. They even talked about enhanced VR, but then PlayStation VR will work on PlayStation 4 and PS4 Pro. Again, a non-point. Then there's 4K, higher resolution support. Yes, that's there on the PS4 Pro. HDR is one point that's uniform also to both. So I honestly see no point.
Yeah, okay. And as someone who has no consoles, looking for an entry point into gaming, is there a low price Sony console right now?
Yes, it's called the PlayStation 4, which just got a redesign, which is unofficially known as the PS4 Slim. It's I think 1/3 smaller. Sports a full matte body, no optical out. So if you're the sort who's an audiophile, you'd want to get the original PS4, which will have a price drop, unofficially at least, before it gets sold out, because that has an optical out. And the slim version also has better Wi-Fi, 5 GHz Wi-Fi band. So that also, if you're the sort who plays online using Wi-Fi, that's a big plus point. But barring that, there are very few differences.
Yeah, so what about the price?
The price of the PS4 Pro is $399, available from November 15 worldwide. But when I mean worldwide, guys, I'm not referring to India. India has no release date yet. Sony, in fact, doesn't know when it plans to bring it in. Keep in mind that a lot of electronics in India require BIS certification, so that's an important thing. If I were to take a guess, I'd say $399 would translate to 40,000 rupees, which is the same. Reason why I'm saying that is because the original PS4 had a $399 price point and ended up being available for 40,000 rupees as well. So that's where I'm coming with the speculation of 40,000 rupees. I'm anticipating a Jan launch, if at all, because again, BIS could be a problem here.
Yeah, what about the PS4 Slim?
The PS4 Slim worldwide is, if I'm not mistaken, September 15 launch.
They have to get it to India, right?
Yeah, that in fact has a quicker chance of coming in because stock is readily available. We've seen other markets like the Middle East already have products sold ahead of launch. So that should make it in quicker, I guess. But again, it's dependent on BIS certifications. And it also depends when Sony is able to completely run out of original PlayStation 4 stock. The PlayStation 4 is the biggest selling console in India. It already hit 100,000 units sold, which is, I think, to give you some perspective, that's probably 10 times the number of what Microsoft has sold. So there shouldn't be a problem of them selling out. It's just a question of when. Yeah, the price of the Slim is $299 for the 1 terabyte version. There's a $250 PS4 Slim, which is essentially a 500 gig version as well. And if we translate in India pricing, that should work out to around 29,000 rupees.
Okay, elephant in the room question. What about games?
That is, for me, the biggest sticking point of the entire PlayStation meeting. We have got no intimation on anything that we don't know in terms of games. So you got Watch Dogs 2, for example, will have 4K support on the PS4 Pro. You'll have Mass Effect Andromeda, which is the latest entry in the long-running sci-fi RPG series from EA. That also will have 4K functionality with PS4 Pro. Essentially, every game that's available out right now will have PS4 Pro support, at least the big ones, the big games that you'd expect to have PS4 Pro support. Older games will run better and smoother at 1080p. So in terms of exclusive games, in terms of exclusive content, I don't think there's much there. And to me, that's a big sticking point. Because frankly, if you already have an original PS4, there is no point to upgrade at this stage.
Yeah, and if you don't have one, I guess it's best to get the PS4 Slim and be happy with the library of games.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, the only reason you need a PS4 Pro is if you have a TV that can support it. And if you don't have a TV that can support it, there's no point at this stage.
All right. Any word on any PS4 Pro exclusives?
Sony will not do that. They said that out of the box, that every game will work on both platforms. They've gone to the extent of saying prior to the launch that the reason why they went with PS4 Pro and not any other name, not PS Neo for that matter, is because it belongs to the same family, which is PlayStation 4. And therefore they want what they're calling interoperability to happen across.
All right. So fan question, what happens to the PS Vita?
I think the only two people who care about the PlayStation Vita are the two people on the show. I don't think anyone at Sony really cares at this stage, which is a little tragic. At least that's what it seems. But FCC filings found a couple of weeks ago indicate that there's a new iteration in the works with the code name PCH 3000, if I'm not mistaken, which indicates there's a new iteration of the Vita on the way. It's just a question of when, but I don't think it's going to have any massive differences from what we already know and have and seen of the Vita. I think if Sony releases it, if at all, it's just to kind of keep it relevant because they're not developing any games for it at this stage.
What are you going to be reviewing next week?
I don't know. I think something is supposed to show up. I wonder when. Oh yeah, here it is. It's a Xbox One S 2TB edition that hopefully should go up as a review next week. So that is a thing.
That looks great.
Yeah, that.